Alright, today with me reacting to if historical figures had domain expansion by Turtle Court. Alright, let's get started.
So, domain expansions are the most iconic part of
For the first time. I like to quit for the first time.
JJK, and today we're theorizing what it would look like if they belonged to actual
That nigga right there, Barack Obama, I think that's Barack Obama. That nigga right there look sick as hell.
people from history. Imagine Einstein having a domain where he could freely manipulate wormholes, or Obama having one based on his most famous campaign slogan. Today, we'll be explaining
And that word there will actually like work because it fits them. The hell?
these ideas and a couple others, and by the end, you can let me know
And plus they already know what they're doing and with their power too.
if they were accurate to Jujutsu Kaisen. Okay, so the first person on this list is Lionel Messi, who's widely considered to be the best football player of all time. On a personal level, as an Arsenal fan, I grew up watching Messi destroy my own team on multiple different occasions, and since then, he went on to complete the entire sport by winning the World Cup. For that reason, his domain
Messi is a good
expansion
player.
is called the World's Game, and the way I describe
But Ronaldo is better.
it is that it's a domain with a huge reward, but also a really high risk to the user. As you can see, the environment for the domain is just an empty football stadium in which Messi forces you to take part in a penalty shootout. The way it works is that the person who's trapped inside this space, they're forced to become the goalkeeper, hence why Yuji has these green gloves, and basically from that point on, Messi gets to take 5 penalties. With each penalty that he scores, the goal itself gets physically bigger, and of course, if the goal gets bigger, then it increases his odds of scoring the next one. If
And that right there will be actually crazy because that means no one will ever be able to stop that nigga. And plus, that nigga, even when he gets his penalty kick or something like that, he will make it. And he'll be for forcing you to, when you are trying to like block it or like what, you won't even be able to do that right there.
Messi can score all 5 penalties without any of them being missed or any of them being saved, then his opponent will die. And that is literally it. They will die
Damn, dog. Shit. But yeah, that nigga will be unstoppable. Unless someone else have a quirk,
if he scores
have a
every
domain
single
expansion.
penalty. However, on the flip side, if you can save just one of the penalties, then his entire domain will collapse. So it's a very high risk domain. If he
Hey, I guess I'm gonna be stopping that kick.
misses one, then it's over. His domain collapses. Obviously, he'll have curse technique burnout and other things like that. So it is literally a case of if you miss, then you've lost. But if you score every time, then your opponent dies. That's why I said it was a high risk, high reward type thing, because the reward is huge. You know, it's a guaranteed kill. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool idea, and it was kind of inspired a little bit by Higuruma and Hikari, because you know, obviously Higuruma has the rule in his domain where there's no violence. You know, violence is not allowed, and that applies to this one as well. You're not allowed to fight Messi. All you can do is take part and try and save the penalty.
Dang, so oh, but I talk that nigga to the ground. Wait, that's crazy. No, I'm playing.
Anyway, next up we have Barack Obama, who was the 44th president of the United States, and the name of his domain is Yes We Can. Now, the inspiration behind this is so obvious. You guys, if you're old enough, you know that Yes We Can was his main slogan. He had a few slogans. He had like hope, change, but Yes We Can is the one that everyone knew, is the one that he said most often, I think. And so
So look, let me bring this thing in real life. All right, imagine his power is like domain expansion. He can put it on anybody else. When he say his speech, yes we can, it will happen.
that was the starting point for this idea. When we think about what it means when you say yes we can, you know, it's not just him. He's getting other people in to help him accomplish a certain goal. And so the idea for the domain was that Obama, when he says the words yes we can, he summons an endless stream of this mini Obama Shikigami.
Damn. Never mind. I guess I was wrong.
So, okay, wait. He summons a stream of endless Shikigami, and they each have explosions in their hands. So, think about Bakugo, for example.
Like Bakugo, yeah, I was about to say it. Like Bakugo.
emit the explosions from his hand, the mini Obamas can do that as well, and that is the sure hit effect. You might be wondering though, why is their power explosions?
Yeah.
Well, if you're a person who lives in this world, then you know America loves to bomb things, so I figured the mini Obamas could blow up whoever's inside.
Yeah, but not Obama. I think, bro. You can. Oh my god. Bro, this thing broken? Alright.
But of course, there is more to this domain.
Are you feeling overwhelmed at work? Well, get ahead with AI. Grammarly is the AI writing tool that I
But yeah,
trust to get time back in my
I guess Obama can have an explosion occur. That means he can control how powerful his explosion is. It could be a atomic bomb, or like a Baco, or some firecrackers.
What I
or
mean
something
by
like
this
that.
is that there's one thing Obama can do to overwhelm his opponents even more. But before we get into that, we need to explain the weakness of this domain. For context, this domain was partly inspired by Dagon, who obviously has the endless stream of Shikigami, and as we saw in Season 2, there are ways that you can survive this. With anti-domain techniques like Falling Blossom Emotion or Simple Domain, you can withstand the Shikigami for a while, and so what I was thinking is that Obama would have a specific cursed chant, alright? So cursed chants are like certain things that you say to increase the strength of your cursed energy, and so what I was thinking was that in this domain, Obama would have to say yes we can 8 times. And the reason it's 8 times is because of the amount of years he was president. And so if he says the curse chant 8 times, then the explosions of his mini Obamas upgrade to a nuclear explosion. So just to recap the entire thing, Obama's domain is called Yes We Can. And when he opens it, the environment is the Oval Office. Inside this space, if he says his famous campaign slogan, Yes We Can, then it summons a stream of Obama Shikigami. Now, these mini Obamas have explosions in their hands for reasons that we mentioned earlier, and these explosions are the guaranteed sure hit of the domain. If they work, then they'll likely blow the opponent up and just kill them, but if the opponent has like an anti-domain technique, then there is something else Obama can do. In this situation, Obama would say a specific curse chant, which is Yes We Can, and he would say that 8 times. By saying Yes We Can 8 separate times, it upgrades the strength of the blast from being normal explosions to nuclear explosions.
Yup, that means he can explode your entire country with that. But like, what if someone like stop that nigga from saying Yes We Can? That means he won't be able to do it.
It goes without saying that Obama himself would be safe inside the domain when this happens, but for anyone else inside the space, they are getting just obliterated by a nuclear explosion, and there's nothing else they could do really.
And your bones will be grovel.
Unless you are a Sukuna level threat, you're probably gonna die from this. Moving on, the next person on this list is Albert Einstein, who's probably the most famous scientist in history. Einstein is
Wait, if y'all had like a domain expansion, what would it be? Type it in. Yeah. If y'all had a domain expansion, what would it be? What power we want you to have, and we want to have yeah, and what wordplay or something like, or some shit. I don't know, but yeah. If y'all had a domain expansion, then what would it be?
largely remembered for his theories about gravity and the universe, and also for his famous equation E=mc². To understand his domain, I wanted to briefly talk about the concept of an Einstein-Rosen bridge, also known as a wormhole. Theoretically, a wormhole is a structure that connects 2 very distant points in space, and it was explained really well in the movie Interstellar. The basic idea is that the wormhole bends space in a certain way in order to create a tunnel between one distant point of the universe and another.
Wait, can a nigga teleport? Or or warp space and time, or go into the future, or go like before stuff even happen.
There are also
That would be cool as hell.
theories that if wormholes do exist, that they might actually connect to other universes, just completely separate from our own. And so, yeah, the idea is very
That part would be strong as hell.
popular in science fiction, and it's something that is technically possible based on Einstein's work. Because of this, the name for his domain expansion is the equation, and it has two main benefits. The first major benefit is that inside this space, Einstein can generate wormholes at will. So, for example, he can step into one location and emerge somewhere else, and he can do it an infinite amount of times. 1 second he might be behind you, the next second he might be in front of you, and this power makes it very difficult to attack him. To make things even better, the wormholes don't have to teleport his whole body. So for example, he can teleport specific body parts, whether that's a fist, whether that's a leg, and
That nigga basically, this part right here is basically every stronger power that he ever said. Cause look. He can trap your basically like this. He can trap your power inside his own. He can like crush it down or something like that. If you really, do got that part in, or he can just like teleport to where the explosion is not even at, nigga. He could be basically do anything he want.
the great thing about this is it means he never has to get close to his opponent. In theory,
That's the best power.
Einstein could just keep his distance the entire time while launching a random series of punches from just all these different angles. You'll never know where it's coming from because, you know, unless you can read his mind, then you just don't know where he's going to launch it from. I should point out though that this is not the guaranteed hit of the domain. It's just something that Einstein can do when he's in this space. But in terms of guaranteed hit, that is something completely different.
Come on. Damn.
This is what brings us to the second benefit of the domain, which is called time dilation. Time dilation. This is what brings us to the second benefit of the domain, which is called time dilation. Time dilation is the domain's short hit effect, and it means that time moves slower for anyone who...
Ooh, so wait. Imagine this. If you use the domain expansion, that nigga can't stop that, and you won't be able to move for the whole time. And he can, while you are stuck on emotion, he can punch you as many times as he wants.
who's not Einstein. For every 10 seconds that passes for Einstein, only 3 seconds passes for his victims. This leaves them wide open for any attack that Einstein wants to do, because their perception of reality is lagging behind what's actually happening. In this example, time is moving so slowly for Megami that he thinks Einstein is still in front of him because that's the last thing that he sees. But in reality, Einstein had already moved behind him. Like I said, everything that Megami is seeing is lagging behind what's actually happening, and the only time that time moves normally for him is when Einstein makes contact. That part of the idea was inspired by Gojo's domain, seeing as, you know, everyone inside the space gets flooded with information unless they're making physical contact with him. I thought it would be interesting if Einstein had the same deal, because what it means is that Megami sees time slowly until the moment he gets punched, and for that split second, he's able to see reality normally.
Y'all ass is gonna be getting your butt quick kicked for the whole fight. That nigga can't put you in a body bag.
The problem
without even trying
for Fushiguro is that the second that Einstein's fist leaves his face, the world will basically go back to being in slow motion. It's hard to explain just how confusing that would be. I say the only way you can survive this domain is if you open your own domain before things get too serious. So yeah, I think it's, you know, if it was real, this would be one of the strongest domains because it has no real weaknesses and his opponents are helpless. They can't do anything unless they can counter it with their own domains.
And plus, even if you counter with his own domain, look, before you even say something or like do something, he will stop. He will stop you. You would think that you was gonna do your domain, but you ain't gonna do your domain. It'll be already too late.
At Full Sail, our technology programs are designed with a different approach to learning. We let our students get hands-on and start creating.
Lastly, the final domain for this video is actually the most simple, and it belongs to Henry VIII.
This nigga right here will have you by his throat for real.
Henry VIII is probably the most famous English king. Let me know in the comments if you know who he is or if you've
Pick you up. Hands. Word.
heard of him before. But essentially, he had 6 wives. He beheaded 2 of them because they couldn't give him a son. He also executed tens of thousands of people during the time he was in charge. And he also created his own church. So yeah, he's a pretty interesting character. And he's the one that, you know, in the UK, he's the one that you're taught about the most. He's the one that we know the most about.
So he will probably have like a fear domain.
Because he was quite a ruthless person who was willing to kill anyone who remotely stood in his way, I call this domain Mad King's Guillotine. As you can see, it's a pretty dark space with
Cool ass name.
the Grim Reaper standing behind him, and I felt this imagery was pretty appropriate given that he killed so many people. Considering that Henry beheaded 2 of his own wives, I figured that the sure-hit effect could be that axes just start flying at you from multiple different directions. If this was real, if this actually happened, Panda would be screwed because he has no domain to counter it with, he has no anti-domain technique, and so the axes would just cut straight through him and likely they would destroy his cause. I'm going to be pretty honest, there isn't much else to this domain. It is just a very simple one that tries to behead you as soon as it opens.
Wait, that shit wicked ass over.
And
what's that nigga again? Einstein is better than that nigga. Donald Trump? No, not Donald Trump. Barack Obama is better than that nigga.
that is basically the entire power. It's just
that nigga power trash.
coming from every direction. Before we end the video, there are 3 things I wanted to say. The first is that if you have ideas for a domain for a real person, then let me know in the comments down below.
Yup, like I said, if y'all had like a domain, what would it be? But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Already know y'all did. But yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And we out. Yeah.